So I tell him to knock.
No.
Knock. Okay.
Just, how far away is he?
I was trying to
I guess
check.
knocking is fine. It'll be fine. It's not that deep.
I was say I was trying to check, but it's not loading.
It's okay.
Just tell him knock once.
Right. Just like a knock.
Okay, phone on, do not disturb.
Okay. 1 second.
Ooh, recycle straw.
Yes, girl.
Fancy.
Okay.
I would have wore better socks if I.
I'm not gonna really see it, right? What's up? Socks.
It's okay. I mean, they're clean. They're just Christmas socks.
And this would be if you're talking to the audience camera, right? So this is just the general wide shot.
Okay, period.
Addressing the audience shots.
The highlight
That's
is
when I wanna go.
popping. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Thank
Like The
you.
Office.
I did this makeup in like 10 minutes.
And I just realized you cleaned out your locks again.
Yeah,
Like the end
It
of,
looks great.
I did.
Yeah.
He's like this.
Oh, before we start,
Click,
we'll
clack,
do the
click.
honors.
Ooh, yeah.
So you're gonna say, "This is for me." Jada Imani M, take 1.
Okay. Just let me know when.
And we're not gonna do multiple takes.
I know. I just like to say that. It's gonna be 1 take.
Okay.
1 take, Jade.
This is for me, Jada Imani M. Take 1. Thank you. That was good.
Okay. Want to take a breath? No, for real.
Okay.
Okay.
This
Okay, beautiful. Ready?
Yep.
All right, how y'all doing? I'm your girl, Nia Rose, and this is for me. We have a lovely guest today, the DMV legendary photographer, director, Jada Imani M.
Hi. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Nia.
Thank you for being here. You know, I just want to start off giving you your flowers. It is so inspiring to see a Black woman, shout out Black History Month,
Oh, yes. Period.
dominate in a male-dominated field. You know,
Yeah.
rise in a male-dominated field. And on top of you continually growing and expanding and shining, you always remember to collaborate with the DMV creatives, to highlight, uplift. You're always sharing and invest. You know, you're always repping DMV brand. So I just love that about you, like always staying grounded as you grow. So giving you your flowers. Boop, 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 boop,
Yay.
boop, boop.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. We already got your fiance on here, so it's about time
Yes.
we get the wifey on here.
Yes.
But you
period.
know, 2023 was a very successful year for you. Let me make sure I got all of this correct.
Okay.
So you got to shoot for the Roots picnic.
Yeah.
You debuted your exhibition, Death to Assimilation. You were featured in Essence, Washington Post, shot several concerts, including Lil Uzi Vert, who used your picture for his Apple Music icon, and you toured with Ari Lennox, where you were engaged to on stage. You know, which one of these accomplishments and plus more do you feel most proud of?
Wow. Some of those were in 2022, but they
Gotcha.
trickled over because the little Uzi Vert thing happened at Something in the Water in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept using my photo to
Right.
promote for his other festivals, which was really cool. But you know, child,
They weren't paying you for that.
people think that I'm still getting paid for that.
Yes.
I'm not. You know, that's one thing. You know, the people that they want their money, child. They paid us to shoot for Something in the Water, so they wanted them rights to the
Exactly.
photos. So they get to license it out to the record
Yeah.
labels, and they get to reuse the photos. And I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But it's still really cool. I feel like my biggest accomplishment personally was finally doing my solo exhibition, and I did that at the end of 2022 after just fighting through the pandemic. I shot the project in April 2021, and I knew even before we shot it, I was in pre-production calls with the stylist Leah, and I was telling her, you know, this is not just going to be something that I throw on Instagram. And, you know, it's great. I like to post stuff on Instagram, but it's going to be more than that. It's going to be bigger than that. This is going to be my debut for my first solo exhibition. And I would not settle for anything less. Even when we were supposed to have the exhibition in the summer of 2022, but then something happened and we had to push it to winter. I'm like, oh, well, we just gonna push it to winter. Right. Because, and I'm still not posting it. Yeah. I shared what I needed to just to put the bug in people's ear. It was like this one photo of Nia Hill.
Yes, fly.
So I had that photo out for a while. But that was about it. Yeah. I refused to just put it out there on social media. But
I love that. And I'm glad that you touched on that because, you know, outside looking in, I know DMV is thinking like, oh, Jada made it. You know what I'm saying? Or if not made it, she's doing it. And I remember you tweeting like, I wish people would stop thinking I have it all together because I do not. 60. What do you feel like are some more of that BTS that people aren't seeing? You know, you touched on licensing, you touched on things being delayed, you touched on, you know, I don't want it to just be on IG, I want to actually make something out of this project. Can you share a little bit more about that, kind of those obstacles you might face that people aren't seeing?
So, I mean, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is the getting paid part for things that I'm not really getting paid for, or paid as much as people think. Like, I'm not getting paid for licensing of Uzi using my images everywhere across streaming platforms. That's not happening. Yeah. And, you know, I'm very grateful. I went on tour with Ari. That was an amazing experience. That's definitely very up there with my accomplishments. And then I went on tour with Kali Uchis as well. And those are two of my favorite artists. So I was really happy that happened. However, I still had a rough patch. I still had a really rough patch where I wasn't getting picked up for any more tours. And it's still difficult to get into those bigger festivals like across the West Coast. Yeah. You know, so I haven't accomplished everything yet. Not nearly everything yet.
Yeah. And knowing that, okay, you didn't get that licensing for Uzi, knowing what you know now, would you have still accepted giving those rights away for something in the water?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I would have still did it because at the time, you know, I had shot Broccoli City probably about 2 months before that. Right. And, you know, I didn't get paid for that. You know, at the time, they didn't really have a budget for production. Yeah.
And that's a pro tip because people think, oh, I'm doing concert photography. They're thinking, oh, she's getting paid for this because this is a big festival. It's like,
no. Nah.
And I think, and that's why I appreciate your transparency because, you know, upcoming photographers or upcoming creatives or even just audience members, they're not seeing that. They think visibility means you're getting paid, and that's not true. That's even with modeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you're seeing my face, that doesn't necessarily, especially creative projects, if ever you see a creative project, like, that's coming out of my pocket, or that's a collaboration, or that's free. And I think people are understanding that. The only time it's really money if it's a brand deal, if it's a campaign. And I think people are understanding that. So I love that even you entering those big leagues, you're still having to advocate for your rates or whatever. You're still having to advocate for your licensing. So I think that's cool that you're learning that and sharing that, you know?
Yeah.
You decided, and I believe 2017, that you wanted to go full time with photography. You know, how has that been? What was that like transitioning from, 9 to 5 to full time? What was that leap like?
So, well, I'll say 2017 is when I started taking photography seriously. I was still in school at the time, studying digital filmmaking, child.
Why is it like that?
Because I say it like that because I learned a lot of things and I'm grateful for the experience, but child, you learn on YouTube.
Right.
You learn on YouTube. They can't teach you how to be creative. They can't teach you how to be creative. In fact, my school, they kind of shied away from that. They're like, no, this is how it's done.
Right.
And, I remember even doing a project with a small group in class, like a short form documentary. And he was just like, oh, the color grading, like, is it even color graded and blah, blah, blah. But, it's this style that some people have where it's kind of like,
is what it needs to look like.
Yeah, they think it needs to look like this one particular thing, but it's like, no, this is actually what's current color grading. It looks more like this. Sometimes things are a little more flat and cinematic looking, but he was just like, nah. And counted it against us.
Right. Now you're failing for a creative choice.
Exactly.
And I love that you mentioned the color grading because your photography, you have this niche, vibrant, bold color, photography. How did you choose that aesthetic? How did you develop that?
So when I was in school, we had to take a lighting class. Lighting for film, not photography. But my professor wanted us to take photos as one of our first assignments. So I had this little Sony mirrorless camera and I just, I took it around my neighborhood, and in post, I just started really playing around with the colors. I was using Adobe Lightroom. I still use Adobe Lightroom to this day.
Shout out them.
Shout out them. So, yeah, and eventually I got to the point when I started taking photography seriously the next year. I learned studio photography, and I was so obsessed with gels and just different colors and how I can add that to my portraits without it being overwhelming. And yeah, it kind of stemmed from there. Because for a while, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to take portraits because I won't be able to edit the way I want. I won't be able to be as creative as I want to be. And eventually, I learned over time that it's not necessarily true. I can still be editorial, but in my own creative way. And in 2019, when I got laid off from the Spy Museum,
what?
That's when
the Spy Museum let you go. That's crazy.
Well, they loved me though. Yeah, they loved me though. Shout out them. It's no hard feelings at all. I was in a temporary position and they kept extending me actually as long as they could, and they was just like, hey, sorry, we tried. Like my manager, he really tried to keep me there, but it was out of his hands.
When that happened, you're like, all right, let me just do this photography thing.
Yeah, I'm like, this was the only job I really wanted to do. So I'm like, well, if I'm not doing this, I'm not about to get another job.
I love that, and I love how much you know what you want. You talked a little bit about just getting excited about gels and just having this creativity that you really want to express in your own way. Can you talk a little bit about how your experience has been advocating for your vision? You curate exhibitions, you're directing, even short films. Like, how is that in this field where, you know, other people have their own ideas and they don't want to let, especially as a woman, they don't want you to let you speak up. You know, even Beyonce was talking about that in her Renaissance film. Even at her level,
I saw that.
Even at her level, she still has these white men telling her we can't do it, you know, and her having to do that research. So what has your experience been in that arena?
I just have to say that part, I know what part you're talking about.
Yes.
And that was really funny.
I'm like, you're talking to Beyonce? You're saying no to Beyonce. I'm confused.
It was so funny because she was just like, they really like, damn, this really will not quit. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not settling.
Yeah.
Do it. Make it happen because it can happen. And that's really the point. Nothing is impossible in this realm of creativity.
Yes.
Like, at all. And that's what I also want to show Black people most importantly, because I feel like a lot of times with photography, and it's no disrespect to that form of photography, but I feel like Black photographers are more known for being documentarians and photojournalists more so than anything, because I guess because of our history and things that we've been through. And it's like, who cares enough to capture that besides us? You know, that's why we had to have, you know, photographers like Gordon Parks, because he's going to document these things.
His lens. And
exactly.
Like, that's important, but that's not my story. That's not my perspective that I want to tell. Is that where you were coming from?
So it is in a way my perspective, but just not the execution. Not exactly the execution. Mine is like, okay, I'm capturing these beautiful Black people around me, but what if I was doing it in this more like very vibrant, colorful, fantasy, like Wonderland space that we wouldn't normally be captured in?
And I think that's so cool because, you know, you have those Missy Elliott and Kellis inspirations. What else are you taking from them and implementing into your own photography?
Yeah, I think Hype Williams is one of our like core Black directors that is just like, okay,
still to this day.
He was like thinking way outside box. Like way outside the box with music videos and visuals. And it's not a lot of people doing that anymore. Not to that level.
Yeah.
Not
What's one of his
level.
projects that stands out to you, or you just like replay in your mind?
So that's so hard. Hold on.
Take your time. I'm gonna drink some wine.
Period. So am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Oh, She's a Bitch by Missy Elliott. Like, I love that video. Yeah. You know, just thinking outside of the typical, like, what people would normally say. Yeah. Like, but also, Give Me Some More by Busta Rhymes. That video, it kind of scares me still to this day. Because they had that blue character with the yellow eyes and
we need some like Halloween-esque spooky from you. We need some more of that. You just did the Doja Cat inspired.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. That was scary. And the model, she killed it.
Oh yeah, Tydren is amazing.
Yeah, and we got
shout out to Tydren.
And we got to work with her for your other project that's coming out.
Yes. And oh wow, I should have brought the book.
It's okay. And kudos to her because she was sick. She flew in. Yes. She was sick, and she still made that happen.
She did. She's amazing. Tydren is phenomenal. Yeah. Okay, I believe she came off of a tour. Excuse me. And then after the Doja Cat inspired shoot, sometime after that, she had to go on another tour with Kelly Rowland, y'all. With Kelly Rowland.
I love that.
In Asia.
Wow. And speaking of that, you have a very supportive community. You know what I'm saying? They're creative. Their supportive community. How is it, working with your fiance? How is it balancing that business and personal relationship? And being managed.
Having
him tell you what to do, like what you mean, like.
It is. Sometimes it is hard because I am very much like, I want to be in control of my own things.
Yeah.
Of my own perspectives and everything. But I have learned a lot from Sean just because he's been in this industry longer than me.
Yeah.
So I keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And just know that he has my best interests at heart at the end of the day. And he's telling me things so that way when I go into a situation, I know what to do, I know how to respond, and I know how not to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, when you get into the industry, you really don't know as much as you think you do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you go into things and you think something is okay when it's like, oh, actually it's not. And it's known in the industry to not be okay. Like, for example, you can't just go up to a big artist like Ari Lennox and ask to shoot with her. You just can't do that. Yeah. Like, there are protocols. Like, there's the person that's putting you in contact with them.
The agent, the manager, whatever.
Yeah. Or even your friend. Like, at the time, like, this has happened to me before, like, years ago before I worked with Ari. Mm-hmm. Just brought around her by Sean. And it's just like being told later on, like, oh, that's not okay.
Oh, because you tried to go up to her before, like, hey, girl, can I shoot for you? Or
I just wanted to do like a creative shoot with her. I wasn't trying to step on anyone's toes. But it's still like, even though your intentions can be good and be pure, it's still like, girl, no, you can't do that.
I love that. And, you talked about there's some industry rules, that you learn. And you tweeted about, I think you retweeted how Cameron, he lost that lawsuit with him having the rights to his own picture, like his own picture of himself. Yeah. He had to pay $60K plus, including legal fees. And it's about that licensing. It's about who owns this photo. Can you share a little bit about, like, how do photographers or models, how do they prevent that? Like, who owns what? What do you need to sign or prepare so you know if you own that photo or not?
So basically, and something I learned, I believe it may have been 2019 or beginning of 2020. Mm-hmm. I went to, actually me and Sean went to this event at the Library of Congress. Yeah. And they were talking about copyright. And then they started talking about photography. And they said, photographers, when a photographer snaps that image from their camera, that is their photo. And they automatically own the rights to the image. So, a way that an artist or a model can protect themselves is, having a contract, maybe, either proposing joint copyright, or licensing the image, or paying, sorry.
You're good, boo.
Uh-oh.
It's okay, right?
Or paying the photographer enough money for the rights, and then you can do whatever you want with the image because now you own it solely, or your company or label or whatever owns it. Like with Something in the Water. Right. They paid us a good amount of money, so they're just like, oh no, we own these photos. Yeah. And there was a contract in place, and I signed
and you agreed to that. So maybe in the future, as you get a little bit more pull, you can be like, let me do that joint copyright. Let me get a little piece of that pie.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do joint copyright. I'm considering, to start doing it with even my own personal work. Just because I do think it's important for like models and artists to know, like, hey, I don't want you to be thrown off by me using this image. So let me tell you what it is, so that way and then you can make a decision like, oh, I'm okay with you keeping copyright, or hey, can we have joint copyright, so I can also use this image as I want to use it.
Yeah. And that's a great point, because that's something that I learned in modeling. Like, when you're negotiating your rate, it's not only just for the time or the skill, it's also for the usage.
Yeah.
Where is this photo going? Is it going on your website? Is it going on, you know, merch? You know, that's how long are you using this on your social media, for example? Is it 30 days? Is it 3 months? That's gonna, you know, affect how much you're getting paid. So I think that's so great for people to learn. There's so much, it's much more than, you know, just even the art. As beautiful as that is, that's a small piece of it. It's also a business, you know. It's also just learning the copyright laws and all that stuff. So I love that you have that. We're gonna do one more question, and then we're gonna do lightning round.
Okay.
You talked earlier just about just the importance of showcasing that Black beauty, you know, and just really that Black empowerment in that vibrant light. And I think that's so important, especially when media is often Eurocentric, you know. Yeah. It's Black History Month, you know, the perfect time to learn and honor our ancestry and our history. What do you feel like Black beauty looks like and feels like to you?
Ooh, I mean, Black beauty, it looks and feels multidimensional. It's multifaceted. It's not any one thing. And I feel like growing up, you know, you kind of see more just conventional Black beauty being pushed to the forefront.
Yeah.
Even when it was ever pushed to the forefront at all, you know. So just having different platforms dedicated just for us really helped push all those different types of beauty, different body types and different facial features, you know, different skin tones. That's a part of the reason why I did the project that I recently did, called Infinity, because just those Black hair magazines, Hype Hair, they really showed us Beyonce and Alicia Keys, but they also showed us Brandy, and they also showed us Fantasia and Monique, and just all these different types of beauty that we got to see growing up. And, you know, we all felt represented in some sort of way. And that is timeless. Yeah. That is timeless in itself.
Infinite.
And that, exactly. It's infinite. Which is why the project is called Infinite.
Yeah, we're infinite. You know, that's been me and my family's motto, of just like, we're infinite. And it doesn't always feel like that when you are in this physical world and, you know, paying bills and hearing no and hearing rejection. But it's like, just remember you're infinite and keep going, you know. So I love that you are continuing, you are creating, you're behind, you're in front of the camera, like, you're just so beautiful, and your mind is so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm just really thankful to you for just creating with me. I'm always excited to get that text from Jada. I'm like, what we doing now? What we putting out? You know, your mind is amazing. But let me do the lightning round. I'm way over time. But okay, what's your favorite tattoo of yours?
Ooh, my favorite tattoo. I'll say right now is this one.
Scorpio.
Yeah, right now this one. I have this one too, but this one, this was my second tattoo. Yeah. But my first scorpion tattoo. I like this one a lot because it's not really feminine. It's kind of like hard.
Right, hardcore.
Yeah, it's kind of hardcore.
It's giving gangster.
And it's really big. It's not like a little, it's like, no.
Yeah.
So, and I think it always surprises people.
I love that.
To see it.
Next. Which anime world would you rather live in? Would you rather live in?
Anime world? Oh, wow. Oh, wait. Oh, no. I'm trying to think of the ones I've been watching lately.
Ones I know are AOT, One Punch.
Well, definitely not Attack on Titan. Definitely not that.
Naruto is Avengers anime? I'm not
Avengers.
It's not anime. See,
Jujutsu Kaisen is an anime.
Okay.
But Jujutsu Kaisen, that last season, I don't think I would want to be on Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
It was one that I just.
Does Sean know the one?
I'm trying to think of one. No, that's too medieval. Probably.
I like that you're really thinking about this.
Probably.
What's the anime with the black girl? What's that one?
I haven't seen that one yet. I know which one you're talking about. No, that's not One Piece. One Piece. I want to be One Piece.
There you go.
I love One Piece. It's probably more lighthearted than most.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Khalees, I feel like I'm saying her name wrong.
Khalees, child.
Khalees. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, Khalees.
I said it wrong both times. Sorry, okay. If Khalees, Missy Elliott, or Doja Cat calls you, they're trying to book you for the same day, same time, who are you picking up? Who are you going to?
Excuse me. I'm just going to hope technology is elevated so I can clone myself and go on 3.
I love that. Okay, you've collaborated with hella talented DMV artists, creatives. Who's the best? You gotta pick one. Who's next up?
That's not fair.
I know.
Only one?
Only one. This is the first person that comes to mind.
It's 2 that came to mind.
Okay, say the 2. So they said the 2.
Chikete.
I knew you were gonna say Chikete. Shout out him.
People gonna think I'm biased, but it is what it is, child. And O-Slice.
Yeah, shout out O-Slice.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She is.
Okay. Last lightning round. We were supposed to do short, but I'm sorry, I was just enjoying myself.
It's okay.
Through all the ups and downs, what or who keeps you going?
So the Who, my fiance Sean, my friend was like a brother to me, Chikete.
Yeah.
My other friend Kyle, and my best friend Nia. And of course, like, you know, the older woman in my life, like my mother and my grandmother. Definitely. And then honestly, just watching Black women like Issa Rae just
Quinta Brunson.
Yes, Quinta Brunson.
Yeah.
But like child, Issa's my girl.
Yeah.
The reason why
We gonna
say
work with her.
Yes.
Soon.
The reason why I say Issa is because when I was younger, Raven Simone was my biggest inspiration. And I was acting a lot when I was younger. I acted for 8 years.
Wow.
So I wanted to have a show like That's So Raven. And when that didn't happen, I got disappointed and I kind of shifted away from acting. And then Issa came along and it was like, oh wow, this dream, it's still possible. Being almost 30, it's still possible for me to have my own shows, my own production company, to act, you know, on other people's things and just, you know, also still be behind the scenes and just be a writer, just be a director. Yeah. So, you know, that's why I always reference her in particular, because that transition in me wanting to stay behind the scenes but get back into acting, she had a big influence on that.
I love that. We're excited to see you in front of the screen, you know, acting
Thank
again.
you.
Let the people know what you got coming up and where they can find you. Top camera.
Okay. So February 29th, I will be doing a very, very, very special presentation of my project, Infinity. I don't think I can say with what company I'm doing it with yet, but I will be posting it very soon. Follow me on Instagram at Jada Imani M and on Twitter, and my website is also jadaimaniem.com.
Woo! Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. I'm feeling emotional and inspired. Love you.
Oh, love you too. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
So excited.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm your girl, Nia Rose, and this is for me. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Woo! Yes, I'm so sorry, Khalees. I love you. Khalees. We're just going to insert Khalees in every time. Just like, Khalees. I'm so sorry. Love you. I was really hoping. I was practicing. I was like, say this correctly.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I was like, what podcast?
Oh.
It's also going to be out on podcasts. Stay tuned. Woo!
Bye, y'all.
Thank you so much.